Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile video. In this one, we're going to talk about the extensive mana cost of triggered abilities across the board, with the exception of Mjolnir. So we've been doing a lot of tests with these things. I've been asking the chat here as well with their experience, and I've been going through my own experience. I'm just going to go into the gameplay and actually show you how it looks. So Arcanist brand is one of the things that I wanted to mention. It doesn't have a mana multiplier, but you actually have to spend or pay the mana cost for the ability. Now, Arcanist brand seems to be one of the abilities that seems, at first glance, as I haven't played it myself, to tell from experience, it does seem theoretically to be in line with a very balanced state with you paying mana for the triggered abilities. What doesn't make sense is two things, and one is triggered craft, and the other one is Spellslinger. Now, the way Spellslinger works is in a situation where you are already paying the opportunity cost and foregoing the auras that you could use in your build so that Spellslinger will automatically trigger your spells. But you are forced to spend the mana cost on top of this, and the mana cost is extensively increased because of the increased mana multipliers in the patch notes. This means that Spellslingers is completely destroyed down to the ground. It still functions to a very small degree, but you're never gonna get anywhere near the yellow and red tier map progression by doing Spellslinger. It works to some degree for leveling in lower tier maps, but other than that, you're gonna get really screwed over, especially on single target, because you need an open mana pool, and you're also forced to use something like an Enduring Mana Flask. And this league seems to force in an Enduring Mana Flask on any build that wants to use any sort of utility on an automatic trigger. So if you look at, for example, the trigger craft, which I'm using in this Spectre build that I'm playing at the moment, there are two versions of this craft, and it's the teal highlighted version at the bottom here. It says trigger to sock spell when you use a skill with an 8-second cooldown and 150% more mana cost. The unveiled version, which is the non-crafted, it has a 4-second cooldown. So the problem with this is that there's already a very big opportunity cost of it having a massive cooldown, and then you're also adding a massive mana cost to it. I don't see why this is there, because the only difference, the only change this does to this craft specifically for the game is that builds that utilize this for utility now has to open up a significant spot in their mana pool to afford running this. I'm playing a Spectre build, and I have to run an Enduring Mana Flask, and this is with a level 2 Desecrate and a level 1 Frost Bomb. And those costs right now, Frostbite is 12 mana, not so much. Desecrate's 32 mana. That's a level 2 Desecrate. There's no supports for these. Level 2 costs 32 mana. That's a lot of mana for a level 2 skill. But it's okay. I'd say these are... It's annoying, but it's fine. However, we're using a Flesh Offering, which we've actually leveled. This fucker costs 85 mana. That I'm going to spend every 8 seconds. That's a lot of mana. And if I'm starting to spam my 29 mana Stormbite, which is just a generic Hex Touch Frostbite, so it's only, like, there's nothing in it. If I spam this, as you can see, my Flesh Offering never triggered. And the reason Flesh Offering never triggered, but the Frost Bomb and my Desecrate did, was because after I spend my first cast, if you look at the mana cost, I'm down to 100. If I wait a little bit, then I'm gonna get it, because I have to wait up the mana, which is absolutely stupid. So how do we tackle this issue? Well, the solution is to use a goddamn Enduring Mana Flask. Are we supposed to run Enduring Mana Flasks on any type of build that wants to use a trigger for any sort of utility with an 8-second cooldown? I'm literally using an Enduring Mana Flask to afford an 8-second cooldown utility option that is already hard to achieve and already cost a bit of currency to get access to, and this is without support gems. Now, again, it makes sense for something that doesn't have a massive cooldown, such as Spellslinger, which has a 150 MS, I think it is, cooldown, to trigger the abilities. But the difference, instead of having a cooldown of Spellslingers is in a situation where you are having a mana reservation, which has, because of support gems, which is something you want to use in a build like that, which actually uses those spells as an increased damage source or an actual damage source. You've already had mana multipliers ramping that up, so now we're supposed to invest more into mana reservation multipliers or nodes on the tree or gear to afford reserving it. But now you, on top of that, also have to open up that little fraction of mana pool that you have left over is supposed to cover the cost of those spells at the same time. And the only solution we have It's an enduring mana flask. Now, so we discussed this in the chat a little bit, which sparked this video. And the question for you guys here in the YouTube, I'd like to hear you guys' opinions here, or read your opinions in the comments below. And that is, what is the perfect balance for this? My personal opinion on this would be that spells or supports or modifiers that already has a very big opportunity cost or a downside to it should not have, at least not have extra mana cost. So for example, the trigger socket spell when you use a skill craft with an 8 or 4 second cooldown, it can still cost mana. I don't mind that. I think that's fine with the way they designed the game. But adding an increased multiplier to the mana cost seems absolutely out of this world stupid. And Spellslinger is the other topic, which I would say skip the mana cost. There's already an opportunity cost of foregoing auras, and they've already ramped up the mana reservation through the increasement of the support gems and lowered the efficiency of support gems. So why would it cost a lot of extra mana? I just don't get it. And forcing, 90% of builds that wants to use utility options or trigger spells to force them into using Enduring Mana Flask feels awkward. It's weird to play, on top of the fact that there are flask changes. But I must say, though, that flask changes hasn't really impacted mana flask that heavily, because you don't consume that many charges. I haven't run into any issues with the mana myself when it comes to that, but it does force me to use an Enduring Mana Flask for the sake of just having an 8-second cooldown ability triggered. I don't know, I just think it's so crazy. Before I end this video, I do want to mention, though, that what GHAZZY said was that they are doing all of these nerfs and they want to see as much feedback as possible on these things so that they can take that information to further go forward in the game with adapting and changing these balances or balance changes so that we can find a good balance for these nerfs. I don't mind the mana cost. I think it's fine that it would cost mana. Putting a multiplier to it would be bad. And same thing with the Spellslinger. Remove the mana cost because you're already having the opportunity cost. Those are just 2 examples. But like I said before, let me know in the comments what you guys feel about these changes. And I will read through all of them because it's going to be very interesting to see what you guys have for solutions to this as well. Yeah, that's all I have for you. Slightly frustrated, but I'll probably make a video further down the road or later today where I cover the first experience of the Expedition League. Hope you guys had fun with the league. Hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Till next time, stay safe, keep rocking.